Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and this is a response to LiveFastDiarrhea and his video Top 5 Great Movies That Nobody Ever Talks About. And you're just gonna have to check his video to figure out what that means if you can't understand the title, but I'm just gonna go ahead and go. So, first up is a film called Session 9. This was directed by Brad Anderson in 2001. And Brad Anderson is probably more known for his second feature film, which was The Machinist, starring Christian Bale, and he's like ultra skinny, and I think that's a great movie too. However, this, which was his director debut, it stars David Caruso and Peter Mullen, among other people. It's about a team of asbestos crew guys who are hired to go do this job in an abandoned mental hospital. And this was in fact a real mental hospital, which was closed down. It was called the Denver Asylum, I think. And well, the basic idea is that they are supposed to go in, do this quick job, and get a big pile of bonus cash for it, because nobody else will do the job in that time. So there's like, I think, 5 guys or so. One guy is involved with the other guy's wife, and they kind of broke up. So there's all this tension between them. But as they go along with this job, it's like, the ghosts of the past are kind of haunting these halls, and they start to feel paranoid, and they hear stuff and see things. And as the movie progresses, it just gets darker and darker. It's got this incredibly eerie feel to it, which I think Brad Anderson usually pulls off in his movies. He's just, like really on his MO, I think, really to get that feeling. Things just get darker and darker, and spin way out of control. And it's such a great film. I stayed up last night just like till 3 AM because I wanted to watch it when I started thinking about it, and it's incredibly total classic thriller. You gotta see this if you're like into horror films and mental hospitals or whatever. And I can also mention that this film was released in Sweden under the name The Asylum, Halls of Death, if you translate it. And it was only available on rental DVD for some bizarre reason. So this is a rental DVD, which I bought. Anyway, gotta move on. Next film is Following. This came out in 1998. It's directed by Christopher Nolan, who is very famous these days. He did Memento, he did the 2 last Batman movies, Insomnia remake, and he's a great director. This was his director debut of feature film length, so to speak. And it's about this guy called Bill, who's a sort of an out-of-work writer with a writer's block, who's trying to, kind of get his flow back or whatever. And he's begun to follow random people in the streets, kind of walking after them, sort of a stalker type thing. Mainly to kind of, he thinks about who is this person and what's their life like. So it's sort of a thing for him to like get into the head of a potential character for a book or something. That's what he thinks of it. And anyway, one day he is confronted by one of his victims, so to speak, one of the people he's following. And as it turns out, this guy that he's following, his name is Cobb. He is sort of a strange kind of burglar type. As it turns out, he likes to break into people's homes, not for stealing stuff, but just for the rush of it. And then he kind of takes one item, like a pair of panties, and then he puts those panties in like the next place he robs. And he lives like with this philosophy that if he does this, he will kind of stir up stuff and make life more interesting to the people that he burglarizes. And so anyway, the writer guy gets involved with this burglar guy, and they kind of break into places together. and it's an incredibly interesting film, and the story is just incredibly smart, and it's got like a big plot turns and twists, and very Christopher Nolan like, and a great film. You got to check this out. Black and white, but doesn't really matter. Great film. Next up we got, oh my god, this took so much time. I can't fit 5 movies into this time span. Perhaps I'll see. Next up is Rules of Attraction. It's not like this is an unknown film, but I'm bringing it up because I think that when people see this cover and they sort of like see it on the shelf, people just assume this movie to be like a typical college movie comedy, which it is not. It's a brilliant piece of film. The editing and kind of style of it is just unheard of. It's got a ton of sequences that, you know, throughout the movie you kind of, the scene plays and then a certain part just stops and starts going in reverse, like literally in reverse, and they kind of change the angle and it goes into a alternate, you know, part of the scene and stops and starts playing forward into like a totally different direction. And it's brilliantly directed. It's directed by Roger Avery, and it came out in 2002. It stars James Van Der Beek, Jessica Biel, Shannon Sossamon, who is just so fucking beautiful, seriously. And anyway, James Van Der Beek, who is probably most known for like Dawson's Creek, and you know, he's not a pretty interesting guy, but in this film he makes such a good performance. He plays this guy called Sean Bateman, and to anyone who recognizes the name Bateman as Patrick Bateman of American Psycho, you will know that there is connection. Both films were based on novels by Bret Easton Ellis, and the character who James Van Der Beek plays in this film, Sean Bateman, is actually, according to the books, so to speak, is the younger brother of Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. And you can totally sense this. The characters are very much alike, though James Van Der Beek's character doesn't go around killing people. He's just a guy in college. And it's not a typical college film. I want to point this out. It's a total... I mean, I haven't been to college because we don't have that in Sweden. So it's kind of like, I heard people say that it's like, it's a college film which is just like college really was, you know. It's not all fun and, you know, crazy kind of schemes like stealing girls' panties and, you know, whatever. Not that typical campy Animal House thing. It's a college film like what college was actually like people commit suicides, make terrible mistakes with their lives, you know, bad romance stories, and, you know, just a lot of heartbreak and a lot of despair. And I'm just not sure how to describe it, but, you know, if you like movies like American Psycho or like, I don't know, Pulp Fiction, these are actually 2 of the movies that are on the cover, sort of to sell the picture, which I just hate. But I don't know, it's got an American Psycho-like feel, and it's got a Pulp Fiction-y feel. I mean, if you have any interest in movies like that, and you enjoy sort of the alternate style of editing, just go watch this. It's so fucking brilliant. I love it. Oh yeah, and I can also mention that Rules of Attraction, it's a movie that's not available in 2 interesting releases, but if you want to get a good packaging for it, you can check out the French Digipack version with 2 discs, a bunch of extras, and, you know, so go release. Let's see. I just know in my heart I would never fit this into the regular 10-minute time frame.